Doctor. I'm a Time Lord. I'm from the planet Gallifrey in the constellation of Casterbarus.
I hope the ears are a bit less conspicuous this time.
You might be a doctor, but I am
I'm a doctor, but probably not the one you expect. Absolutely fantastic.
All of time and space, everything that ever happened or ever will. Where do you want to start?
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Bigger on the Inside, the New Who Doctor Who Watch Along podcast. One day I'm going to get that right. It's really tricky to say. With me, as always, is my co-host with the mo-host. It's Harry Murdoch. I need to think of a better way of introducing you, I feel.
No, I think the mo-host, I can vibe with that.
But what does it mean? What does mo-host mean?
It means that I have the most, but with a bit more host.
Ah, are you happy with that?
Yeah. Yeah, you know, we can work on it. We can workshop it.
Cool. Oh, I should just say at the top of the episode, thanks to people who are actually listening to this. I was having a look at the Acast analytics of the podcast today, and they're going up every time we upload an episode, which is always really good.
Wow, really? So, like, I'm not just talking to a void. There are, like, people hearing this.
Yeah, people are actually listening through Acast, and there's on our YouTube, people are watching the videos on there and subscribing. So thanks to everybody who's actually tuning in and listening.
Yeah, and if any of you want to send an email, please do. I don't know why I'm so infatuated with the idea of like us getting an email.
I am as well. I really like it as well. Yeah, I find it exciting.
If someone does send in an email, it would genuinely like make my day.
Yeah, the same. Anyway, so let's get into the episode. Today we're going to be talking about Series 1, Episode 12, Bad Wolf. Now, I started watching this episode today. Normally, I would watch Confidential as well to give me a bit of background. I haven't had a chance to watch Confidential. I also thought this was more of a two-part episode with the parting of ways, but it sort of isn't, is it?
No, I mean, I think before we watched these episodes, we had kind of already agreed that because when we finish, we want to kind of look back on the series as a whole after the parting of ways. We thought it'd be better to have them as two separate episodes. But also, Bad Wolf really, what most of it is about and just kind of the general concept is quite notably different from the parting of ways because, of course, there's the big revelation at the end, which kind of changes everything for the second half.
Yeah, no, definitely. Okay, I'm going to jump right to the end of the episode here where they reveal the Daleks are in this episode. The last 3 minutes, they show the Daleks. Now, at the end of Boomtown, when it shows the next time and they show you a few clips of what's to come, they show you the Daleks in that next time clip.
They did?
Yeah, so I was watching it with a friend because I had a friend around. I was like, I've got to watch Boomtown for the podcast. He was like, okay, cool, I'll watch it with you. And then it came on at the end, and we both went, oh, why have they shown that?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this is something that kind of the Doctor Who kind of promos and next times and all that I've always been quite guilty of kind of giving away their kind of surprises, particularly when it comes to villains. Because I feel like even like for Series 1, like if you go back and watch the original teaser trailer for this series, there's a Dalek in that, which personally, obviously they were never going to hide the fact that there was going to be a Dalek in the episode called Dalek. But part of me wishes that they had kind of saved it up as a reveal. And really, like, if you look at stuff even like more recently, such as how Series 10, there's the kind of infamous fact that they gave away John Sim returned as the Master. And even the New Year's special from, was it a couple of years ago now, Revelation, how they nearly didn't reveal there was a Dalek, but then they released a promo which ended with you hearing the exterminate.
No, they've definitely been guilty of it. I always find that's probably Doctor Who, is that they do reveal slightly too much. I even remember in Capaldi's last episode, Twice Upon a Time. Can I just say, me and Harry are recording this from two separate universities, and both our universities at the moment are in Freshers Week. So if you can hear people screaming and slight tints of music in the background, that's because people are having a better time than us. That's.
Can you hear them inside?
I can hear slight noises, but it's nothing too bad. I'm sure people won't mind.
They're kids. Let them have fun.
This is what happens when you like Doctor Who. You don't get invited to parties.
I mean, it's more the fact that like I'm 21 and most of the people in my accommodation are like 18. You know?
No, that's the problem I had. Yeah, I was like, I've done all this. I just want to go to the pub. Anyway, yeah, as I was saying, in Capaldi's last episode, Twice Upon a Time, in the trailer to that, they showed him regenerating.
I mean, I guess
there's a shot of him in the TARDIS with his arms out and the light coming out. And I know we know it's going to happen, but you don't really want to see it.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Kind of regeneration, especially in like the first scene of a Doctor and the last scene of a Doctor, kind of feel like these very kind of pivotal moments for the show. Quite literally, kind of, you know, the show takes on a drastic change, either just because of the lead actor or stylistically or with a new team coming on. So you kind of would think that there'd be a bit more respect for that, but I guess that the advertising team at BBC can't resist showing everything.
I like the way I complained about them putting that in the trailer, even though I was one of the lucky people who got to see that episode before it actually went out on the TV. I got to go to one of the BBC screenings.
Like a preview, didn't you?
Yeah, they showed pretty much the full episode. They showed Capaldi's regeneration. You know the scene where Capaldi's eyes turn into Jodie's? You saw
did they end it there?
Yeah, you saw Jodie's eyes and it just faded to black and everyone went, what? Anyway, so
kind of incredible they showed even that much.
Yeah, no, we were really surprised by that. I was like, oh, they just put the wrong film on watching the full thing. Anyway, we'll get back to the episode. So this is Bad Wolf, which starts with a very bad taste in its mouth by reminding us all about the long game.
Oh, yeah, Satellite 5. I mean, I'm guessing the reason that they kind of reuse Satellite 5 is just so they didn't have to, you know, put extra money into making another CGI spaceship.
No, definitely. I definitely agree. Yeah, I was a bit confused to why they did that. They could have made... Well, looking back, we've already discussed the long game and we said we didn't really need it. But if you want to listen to that, you can go back and listen to the long game. But this is set 100 years later when Satellite 5 has been turned into basically a big TV studio showing a lot of TV programs which have all since been cancelled.
Yeah, it's kind of funny that kind of... They make this whole joke about how, oh yeah, all these TV shows have been running for centuries and centuries, and all the TV shows they choose to show, The Weakest Link, Big Brother, what
Trini
was
and Susanna.
Was that Trini and Susanna?
Yeah.
Like, all of those, and none of those are TV shows that are still on air.
No, I don't even think Trini and Susanna work together anymore. I think they split up. What did you think to the fact that Rose is kind of a side character in this, and she's replaced with Linda?
Yeah, nice Linda.
Yeah, sweet, nice Linda.
Sweet Linda, that's it.
Yeah.
Sweet Linda. It's
think
interesting. I have nothing against her, but obviously the fact that she's only kind of in this episode and the next one kind of is a little perplexing as to why she's introduced in the first place. I guess it's just kind of to show that despite, you know, the TV station's been taken over by this cold corporation, there is still, you know, some humanity and still some life worth saving.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, I almost felt like the last few episodes we've watched, this Boomtown and the Long Game, have all sort of been episodes that I feel were just put in there so they could have a 13-episode run. They don't really seem to provide much.
I can understand it with stuff like the Long Game and definitely Boomtown. With this one, I feel like it's kind of necessary to have this episode. Firstly, because of the whole, it is the answer to the whole, or it starts to answer the whole Bad Wolf mystery that's been teased throughout the series.
Yeah, I sort of get that, but I feel like the rest of it, like splitting them up, putting Jack in a different show, putting the Doctor in Big Brother, I'm sort of like, why? But it doesn't really pay off. It's like the Doctor was only putting Big Brother so he could meet Linda. But he could have just easily have met Linda elsewhere. She could have been a cleaner or something, and he could have met her that way.
Honestly, and this isn't gonna be some kind of like deep thing. I don't mind it, just because I kind of, as someone who grew up with this era of TV, I just find it to be just a very fun nostalgia trip, and that's entirely selfish reasons for enjoying this episode. But I just find it quite funny to see, they actually got Adam Widdicombe to voice the android, and they got like licensing from Channel 4 to use the Big Brother TV theme, and just kind of comical juxtaposition of, despite the fact that this is like, meant to be 2005, the year 2500 or something, everyone in the Big Brother house still dresses like it's 2005, and it's still decorated like it's 2005.
Yeah, well, I'm just looking now at images of Big Brother from 2005, and the house on the actual show looks a lot better than the crap they put them in Doctor Who. It's like a little student flat, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I found it was a good nostalgia trip, like you said, but I did speak to someone else about this, and they said it hasn't dated very well because of those elements. Like, I don't really think this episode would maybe translate that well overseas, because they would be like, what on earth, the bot of the android and the weakest link, and I know Big Brother's around the world, but like the Davina bot and all this stuff.
Yeah.
But I suppose when they made this episode, they didn't know it was going to be as successful as it would turn out to be.
I mean, did this air in the States when it first came out? Did it? Was it like a BBC America in 2005?
I'm not sure. I'll have a quick look. Doctor Who Series 1 USA date. I would say no. I know Doctor Who did run, it used to run on PBS in America, like the really early, like classic Who. I can't seem to find anything. I'm just having a quick look. Original air date, Doctor Who finally debuted on the US Sci-Fi Channel on the 16th of March, and then I can't see. I'm gonna have to click on the link. March. I'm just having a look now. Talk on. Keep them entertained, Harry. You can say something for a change.
I mean, on the subject of the kind of the US reception of this series of Doctor Who, I remember seeing, I think it must have been some kind of like critics, like TV critics roundtable. I found it on YouTube from back in 2005 when I think Rose and, no, it wasn't from when they first aired. There was like a special preview screening for kind of journalists and such of Rose and the End of the World. And amongst this kind of roundtable was one American critic. And it was kind of interesting to see how the American critic really just did not get the show and did not understand it at all.
Oh, really?
And all the British kind of journalists just absolutely loved it. They're like, no, you don't get it. This is great. Kids are going to love this. And
this is for Series 1, yeah?
Yeah, this is for Series 1. Yeah.
Well, I just found out Doctor Who aired in the US a year later in March 2006.
Okay. I mean, maybe they would have gotten, because I think there is definitely a Big Brother USA.
Yeah, there is.
Because that's one of those kind of international exports.
Yeah, no.
So maybe they'd have had enough context to understand it.
Yeah. One thing that I noticed, I don't know if you will, I don't think you would have picked up, because you're not a fan of Peep Show, are you, like I am?
No, I've only seen a couple of episodes.
No, well, Roderick, who is standing next to Billie Piper Rose when she's on The Weakest Link, the guy who she battles against, he plays a very big part in the TV show Peep Show, and in that he plays David Mitchell's boss, Johnson, this sort of elaborate boss, not very much like David Brent. He's more successful, and he doesn't realise he's being a bit of a dick.
Right.
So it's quite interesting to see him appear in this as quite an evil character, just a nasty person. But what I found even more interesting is, at the time of recording, Christopher Eccleston was recently asked on his Instagram about Patterson Joseph, who plays Roderick. Someone just left a comment saying Patterson Johnson would make a great doctor, and Christopher Eccleston said it almost happened. So
really?
I'm inclined to believe that I believe Roderick, who is played by Patterson Johnson, may have auditioned to play the 10th Doctor after Eccleston. or
I mean,
even play audition for the Ninth Doctor. I'm not sure.
Perhaps. I mean, it did kind of cross my mind that the actress playing Linda, I wouldn't be surprised if, say, she was one of the runner-ups auditioning for Rose. And
Oh yeah, definitely, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you know, quite similar, young, blonde British actress.
Well, I did write down. I
I
did write wherever I wrote it. I said, does the Doctor just go around just picking up blonde teenagers? Because like he just suddenly,
definitely.
he just seems
Ninth
to
Doctor
suddenly
definitely
fall in
has a
love with
type.
Linda, doesn't he? Like he stood at the door. He's like, yeah, you should come traveling with me. She's like, oh, I'd like that. It's like, yeah, I'd like that. Sweet Linda. It's like, all right, Chris, calm down.
I mean, is that something that kind of permeates all the New Who Doctors? Like, obviously David Tennant, in addition to Rose, also, you know, gets with Kylie, blonde woman. Isn't Madame Pompadour a blonde woman as well?
Yeah, he doesn't fancy Martha. She's black haired.
Yeah. What's River Song?
She's got brown hair, hasn't she?
Just River Song with brown hair. It's kind of fairer brown hair, though, isn't it?
Yeah, he doesn't fancy Amy. She's got ginger hair. He may fancy Clara. We're not sure.
Oh yeah, I did know. Yeah, definitely fancies Clara.
Yeah, but no, I was quite taken back by that because I was like this whole series we've discussed. Is he really in love with Rose, or what's their relationship? Do they fancy each other? Because it's there in some episodes, it's not as clear in others. But in this one, like he just suddenly seems to forget about her, and he's like, "Yeah, you can come traveling with me as well. It'll be me and these two blonde teenagers."
And Captain Jack.
Oh yeah, Captain Jack. Well, one thing
I know.
Sorry, go
on subject of Captain Jack, I know that you complained about how in Boomtown last week you thought that Jack was written a bit cheesy and how it didn't quite align.
This one, I feel like Jack I've wrote down this is a great Jack episode.
No, yeah, like the whole Trina Susanna thing is just so much fun.
Yeah. No, I really did.
What he says when he defabricated, just like, ladies, your viewing figures just went up.
No,
that's just iconic Jack. In a way, I consider this kind of a more kind of iconic or like Captain Jack episode than even The Empty Child and Doctor Dances.
Why is that?
I don't know. I just kind of, when I think of like my favorite Captain Jack moments throughout the series, the Trina Susanna scene from Bad Wolf is probably the first one that jumps to mind. Maybe it's because he's naked.
You like that, do you?
But also, you know, I mean, if I leaned that way, I certainly wouldn't be complaining. And it doesn't offend me to see a naked guy on TV. Like, I think, you know, women are objectified so often. It's about time we take one for the team. You know?
It's about time we all objectified John Barrowman.
I mean, that's not. I mean,
that's what you
people
said.
Have been doing that for the last how long? I mean, it's hardly a new thing. People thinking that John Barrowman is dishy.
He's fabulous. Anyway,
people still find it dishy. You know, he's embracing the grey now.
This is also another. I think it's only the second time as well that they mention an adventure we haven't seen on screen. They mentioned that they went from Rex Coracle Falabatorius to where did they go? Japan in 1836. So I know we're sort of straying off from the episode here, and we're merely discussing the arc a little bit. Big Finish. Do you think we're going to see some of this over there?
An episode in rural Japan. I think that'd be a fun place to go. Yeah,
I feel like they've mentioned. Go on.
If they can get Billy and John Barrowman to come on board for it, that'd be a very fun episode to watch.
Well, I know that both of them have done Big Finish. So I would imagine that they would both be up for this. I don't feel like it's something that they would turn down.
I mean, it seems that nowadays both Billy and John have always kind of maintained a very positive relationship with the show. So I know that Christopher Eccleston definitely enjoyed working with Billy. So
yeah, definitely, yeah. We're getting on to Rose a little bit. How did you find Rose when she's on the Weakest Link? When she first joins the team and she doesn't realise that if you lose, you die. She thinks she's just on actual show, I still feel like her reaction is such a dick. Like, these people are getting the questions wrong and she's just laughing at them on national telly, or what she believes to be national TV.
I guess, like, if I was watching The Weakest Link back in the day and one of the contestants was just laughing through the whole thing, yeah, you would be a bit, not really the right etiquette.
Yeah, she comes across like really arrogant, like, oh my God, I can't believe you got that wrong. And then she gets asked a question, and she's like, oh, why am I supposed to know? I don't know that. And it's like, yeah, all right, love, you're getting a bit entitled for yourself. Who do you think you are? That is one thing. Sorry, go on.
I don't know, like, I guess you would think that after spending so long with the Doctor, she'd have maybe have the instinct by that point to maybe start sussing things out. Although at the same time, I guess, you know, if you ended up, say, like, today, if you ended up on, like, an episode of The Chase with a Bradley bot, I reckon I'd be a bit bemused by it all.
Yeah, I would as well. Yeah, you are right.
Oh, by the way, Chris Chibnall, please take notes. I want an episode where Jodie and the TARDIS team end up on The Chase with a Robo Bradley Walsh.
There's two Bradley Walshes then?
Well, no, there's Graham, played by Bradley Walsh, and then there's Bradley Bot, who is voiced by Bradley Walsh, but is also a robot. That's what I want to see.
Is Graham slightly taken back by the fact that this robot looks a little bit like him?
Yeah, maybe be like, oh, that robot sounds a bit familiar, Doc. That's my Bradley Walsh.
That's that. I know I often praise your Ninth Doctor voice, but that was dreadful.
Wait till you hear my Tennant. I'm going to have so much fun when we get to David Tennant.
Did you notice as well that over here in the UK anyway, The Weakest Link is shown on the BBC. I imagine it's still shown on the BBC in Satellite 5, Bad Wolf TV. They cut for a commercial break on the BBC. They don't have adverts on the BBC, which means in the future the license fee is abolished at long last.
Maybe Bad Wolf TV is one of those UK TV channels that just like there's a lot of repeats of shows.
But then why did they cut to commercial breaks?
Like Dave cuts to commercial breaks all the time.
Yeah, but when Dave showed repeats of Top Gear, Jeremy Clarkson doesn't turn to the camera and go, now it's time for a commercial break.
No, but I do the cut. I mean, maybe it's a thing. I know that like Gold has definitely kind of like done
in your
specials
soul.
based on.
You've got the power to know you're indestructible.
We've just seen Spandau Ballet now.
Yeah, well, you said Gold, so I started singing Gold. Did you not pick up on
such
that?
a weird episode.
I also like to just point out, it's quite late. We normally record these around 8 o'clock. It's 9:30 at night. I'm a little bit tired. I've had a long day, but I really want to talk about this.
I can't remember what I was saying now. I was trying to figure out the logistics of why they'd make an episode of Weakest Link with ad breaks.
I don't know. I just like to think that we don't have the license fee in many years' time to cover. That gives me some hope in a world filled with hate and pain. Anyway.
That's where things start going wrong. It's when the BBC loses its what's it called? Its national broadcast status or something.
Yeah, it's BBC Trust or whatever
Public
it's called.
broadcast status.
Public, yeah, that's it.
Yeah. When this loses its status, that's when the world goes to pot. So I guess hashtag don't defund the BBC.
That's so true. I really like the scene in this episode
to stop Bad Wolf from happening.
I really like the scene in this episode where the Doctor hasn't realised yet that if you get evicted from Big Brother, you die. And he's just like really like fed up with the idea of Big Brother. Like he's like on the sofa going, oh, another reality show. I can't believe it. She's going to make millions when she gets out. Why are you all getting so dramatic about this? But I also feel that's somewhat Christopher Eccleston coming through as well, not just the Ninth Doctor.
I thought that was just that whole moment was just a kind of a very fun little kind of play on it, because obviously in shows like Big Brother, when someone gets evicted, there is the whole going around and hugging and people crying. And you can't but think when watching it that people are just like egging it on a bit and kind of playing up to cameras. But here, you know, they've kind of Russell T Davies has kind of twisted it so that actually, no, this is all completely genuine because it really is life or death.
No, yeah, definitely, yeah. What do you think to the controller? Sort of a character that isn't really explained that much in this episode at all, and it gets exterminated.
A very intriguing character. Like, is it a human girl who, from the age of 5, was hooked up to this machine and forced to? Yeah, no, it's a very intriguing concept, and the bits where they touch upon it are very, just very, very kind of quite disturbing, really. Maybe kind of the reason it's not explored further is because for a show targeted at kids, the idea of a kid being made into kind of this data slave thing for a TV broadcasting station is a bit too dark.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. What did you think to the fact that we see some Bad Wolf flashbacks in this? We see Rose sort of realising that these two words have been following them all around. And we suddenly get a flashback to episode 3, The Unquiet Dead. That suddenly felt so long ago when that flashback came up. I was like, oh my God, I remember that scene. I remember talking about that. It seems ages ago.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been longer, like, watching it back in the day, because really a 12-episode run of a series, like, with an episode a week, that is, like, 3 months of telly, right? Right?
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
He stands in front of... sorry, go on.
I forget, like, how long, like, in how much of kind of the annual timetable a series of Doctor Who takes up. But then when I think back to a kid, it did kind of seem like almost a constant, you know?
Oh, yeah,
it was always on TV or being re-aired.
Yeah, because back when we were kids, you would have it on a Saturday night around 7:30. You would then have Doctor Who Confidentials on BBC Three straight afterwards.
Did you watch Confidentials?
I used to when I was a kid, yeah, because that's what properly got me into, like, for those who don't know, I'm currently studying film at university to work on film and TV sets. And a lot of that is probably down to Doctor Who. So you would have that on BBC Three on a Saturday night. The Sunday night on BBC Three, they would then re-show Doctor Who from the Saturday. They would show it again.
They repeated it?
Yeah, they would repeat it on the Sunday, and then they would show a 15-minute version of Confidential, which is normally a half an hour. And then, what did you do after that? And then, like, just throughout the week, you just have adverts on all the time. And you would have episodes repeated during the week.
Yeah, no, I mean, Doctor Who was such a big deal when we were kids. It's kind of like, it's easy to forget. Like, even like, there was the one Christmas where the kind of big Christmas bump of the BBC One was the one of David Tennant with the reindeer and the TARDIS.
Yes, yeah, it was like, yeah, in the UK, for those who don't know, on BBC One you have the channel idents, which at the time used to be, the logo was like just a red circle, wasn't it? And you'd have like different ways of introducing the red circle. So sometimes you had hippos going in swimming in a circle. That was quite a famous one. And one of them was just David Tennant as the Doctor riding the TARDIS, being steered by reindeers. So yeah, it was massive. And you don't get that anymore, which is quite sad. One thing that I did notice... Sorry, go on. I
mean, this is really jumping ahead, like, because you've not even got to David Tennant, but... I remember, I think they actually used that indent right after the End of Time Part 2 as well. And it was like kind of rubbing salt in the wound a bit, you know?
Bit harsh, isn't it? It is a bit. Well, would you rather have seen that or suddenly just seen one with Matt Smith where he goes, suck it? He shoots a reindeer in the head. He's like, it's dead. It's over.
Well, not quite that vulgar, but they would have kind of been kind of neat if they like reshot the trailer that in Denver with Matt Smith.
How many times in this series now has the Ninth Doctor stood in front of a big glass window looking over the planet Earth?
Let's see. Well, there's the end of the world. That's one.
Yeah.
There's
The long game.
Long game. That's two. Well, wait, but like, there's like multiple times in those stories he does that. Like,
Yeah.
he does it at least 3 times in the end of the world.
Yeah.
And I think it's once in the long game. Then it's once here in Bad Wolf. I mean, I guess
happened, and it was one of those things where I was like, I'm sure I've seen this before. This series.
I guess the Doctor just like really likes Earth, doesn't he?
He really does. One thing that I did like about this episode, and something that I wouldn't have noticed when I was a little kid watching this, is that I feel like this episode is sort of a play on the fact that in early 2000s, when these type of reality shows would come on, I'm a Celebrity, Big Brother, what other reality shows did we have back then? They were like the only main two, weren't they?
Yeah, I think so. Was I'm a Celebrity a thing back in 2005?
Yeah. But like, you would have like people complaining, saying, "Oh, it's torture. It's so horrible for these people. They don't know what they're being letting themselves in for." And I imagine it was quite a bit, even though they were so popular, there was quite a big backlash as well. And I feel like this really sort of plays up to that sort of standard of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, kind of stuff that happened in Big Brother very often made like headline news.
Oh yeah, definitely. Especially when you look at people like, oh my God, what's her name? I can see her head. I can see her face. Jodie something. I can't remember. But there was a lady in there who said some racist things, and then she came out and she was really famous.
Yeah, I remember there was even like the first series. There was like, I can't remember. Like, there's this really deceptive guy. I think it was like, I don't know. I think people call him like Evil Darren or something. I can't remember his name.
Dirty Den or something like that, innit?
Dirty Den, that's it.
Something like that, innit? I can't remember.
I prefer Evil Darren in my mind just because of what a bad ring it has. But yeah, it was Dirty Den.
I don't think it is Dirty Den.
Is it not?
I'm going to
go with Evil Darren.
I'm Googling Big Brother bad guy. See what comes up. It's about Dan, isn't it? It's Dan. What was his name? Dan Neil is his real name, I think. Is it? Oh, no, that's in Australia. Oh my God, I don't know what the hell's going on. Why is there so many versions of Big Brother?
It's a massive international. I mean, it's not actually from the UK originally. I think it's from like Sweden or Denmark originally.
Oh, I've googled Big Brother Dirty. Dirty Darnell? No, I don't know. Oh, I don't want to be looking at this anymore. Nasty Nick.
Nasty Nick, that's it.
I just had to Google Big Brother Dirty. I don't like what I'm looking at.
Don't describe it.
No, don't Google that, kids. So in this episode, Rose dies. She gets shot by Anne Robinson.
Mm-hmm.
The Doctor doesn't seem that fussed.
Yeah, I think he's really. It's kind of a thing. I think that was a very kind of good moment for him, but he kind of runs over. He doesn't like break down crying or anything. Like, he just kind of. But you can see like his face is just kind of goes over, just really steely and cold.
He sort of thinks, you can tell by his emotion that he thinks it's his fault. He's like, I knew this would happen, sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, it must be kind of him like reflecting on kind of the whole stuff. Like, if it was a less subtle show, it would probably like start playing like an echoey voice of Jackie saying, "Can you keep us safe?"
Yeah, we're good. Yeah.
It's kind of that thing that like in that moment he's kind of failed, to protect her and to protect someone he really loves. And kind of the show really does commit to that. Like, he stays kind of in that kind of steely, kind of probably depressive state until he finds out that Rose is alive after all.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, I know. I take back what I said about him not really caring. But I just felt like maybe afterwards, where they're locked up in that cell, I thought there might have been a bit more of a dynamic there about it, but there isn't really. But I guess time has passed throughout that scene, so you don't know what's happened within that. So, yeah. Anything else? Oh, yeah, this is an episode that I thought really touched on something that we've mentioned a lot, which is, would everything be better if he just didn't turn up?
Yeah, because doesn't he like say that he kind of blames himself for Satellite 5 turning the way it did.
Yeah, because he looks at the Earth and he's like, I made this. I made that happen by when he was last there.
Yeah, of course we kind of know and find out that it was the Daleks doing, but I mean, yeah, kind of it is an interesting thing to dwell upon, the fact that the Doctor's actions, even when good intentioned, could very well have these kind of catastrophic consequences, you know, if he kind of makes the wrong judgment about what does and doesn't need to be altered.
No, yeah, I definitely agree. So, is there anything else that we haven't discussed? Oh, go on.
I just like this one bit from the cold open where, obviously, right before the cold open, it does the "You're on Big Brother, please do not swear," and Nicholson says, "You've got to be kidding me." I'm low-key disappointed that they didn't have it. That the Ninth Doctor was about to. I was kind of expecting him to almost swear, and it cut to the.
Oh yeah, like he just goes, "You have got to be."
Yeah, like what the.
That would have been funny. Yeah, no, I didn't like.
I mean, I imagine maybe Russell T Davies had that in an original draft, and the BBC said, "You can't do that, Russell. It's a kids' show."
Yeah, because in the World War III episodes, the Slovenes literally say bollocks when they're about to be bombed. They look up and they go, "Oh
yeah, of course." They are allowed to swear.
Yeah, or imply, because you don't hear them say bollocks, you hear them say ball.
Oh right,
then they explode. But they do swear in future episodes of Doctor Who, which I think did get quite a big backlash when it comes to the Peter Capaldi era. We'll get to it. We'll discuss it off the show because I don't want to talk about it before we get to it. Because I think it's something quite interesting we can talk about when we get to it.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, cool. So, is there anything else that we haven't mentioned that you would like to talk about, Harry?
Pertaining to this episode, I can't think of anything.
No, just about life.
About life? Life's all right now. Yeah.
Cool. So with that in mind, it's time for your favourite part. It's the quiz.
Oh yeah, the quiz.
You, not me. I hate being patient. Patience is for wimps.
Now, can I just ask, do you listen to these podcasts back?
No, I hate the sound of my voice.
So you don't know that there's a jingle for the quiz, and that when the quiz comes on, there's dramatic music playing in the background, and...
No, I didn't know you did that. Oh, now I have to go check it out. Which episode's the first one we do the quiz in?
Oh, I can't remember. At the moment, the one that's out at the moment is the one that you're not in, so I think it's after that it starts.
Oh, right, brill.
So you'll have to listen
I'm going to have to check that out.
But the music, just listen, maybe listen to it, because I know some of them I forget to put the music in, so just listen to that. Anyway, so you ready for your quiz?
Absolutely.
Okay. What channel is Big Brother being shown on? What number?
Oh, it's like something in the hundreds. Like channel. What is it, like channel 260 or something?
44,000.
Oh, it's even bigger than I thought.
Yeah, so as always, that one's wrong. You're never very good at these quizzes. I thought you would have learned by now that we do the quiz.
Yeah, but I don't know, like, there's so many little details that you always ask me about. I don't know what I should be paying attention to.
Question 2, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 questions today. It's the most questions you've ever been given, so let's hope you get at least one right.
Oh, man.
Where does Jack say he buys his jeans from?
Top Man.
I will accept Top Man. I believe he says Top Shop.
Yeah, but, like, that's for women's clothing, so...
I will accept Top Man, so you got one right. This is a question from the Weakest Link quiz. It's a question that gets asked in the quiz. So you ready?
Okay.
What basic foodstuff is an anagram for beard?
Bread.
Yes, well done.
I remembered that one.
Who is the president at the time this episode is set? They only say the surname.
Is it Schwarzenegger?
It is. We've got 3.
Is he the current president?
I don't know.
You're probably still alive.
And maybe
Or just like
it's
a ancient relative or
Yeah.
something.
How many other Big Brothers are there on TV at one time?
50?
60.
Ah!
So you got Harry out of 5. You got 1, 2, 3. I think it's the best you've ever done. So well done.
That is the best I've ever done.
You should be so damn
3 out
pleased
of
with
5.
yourself. Do you feel like you're learning?
Pardon?
Do you feel like you're learning?
Yeah. No. I mean, it's kind of random trivia about a Doctor Who episode, so you can only really learn so much.
Okay, I'm going to let you into it. I wasn't going to tell you this. Next week, you're not only getting a quiz about the very last episode, you're getting a quiz about the whole series.
Oh, so we have to, like, read up.
So look forward to that.
You know how many books I have to be reading already? Like,
Well, I'm going to get into the bit in a minute where we recommend what we just tend to recommend something. But before
yeah,
that,
we didn't do recommendations last time.
no, we forgot to do it last week, so we'll do it this week. But before that, I want to briefly talk about what we're going to do after next week's episode, The Parting of Ways, which is the end of Series 1. So this is what I'm thinking. Might be the first time Harry said this. I know we've talked about it a bit. But we're going to do The Parting of Ways. So we're going to do that episode. Well, then I feel we should talk about the whole of Series 1 in general as a separate episode.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll do that. We also have a number of videos coming out on our YouTube channel. You can go find that on YouTube. Just type in Bigger on the Inside podcast and they'll come up. We've got some videos coming out on there. I do have a list somewhere of the types of videos we could be doing on there. We are going to be doing, on November the 23rd, we'll be doing The Three Doctors, which is the 10th anniversary special of Doctor Who. So we're going to be talking about that. We have one interview already in the can. There's another one that
That's very exciting.
I'm really excited. Sorry, go on.
Will it be already out, you think, by now?
No, it'll come out after this. This is all after this.
Oh, okay. That's going to be one. That's going to be a good one.
Yeah, we're really excited about that. I also have an interview. I'm also doing an interview in a couple of days where I'm going to be talking to a Doctor Who Twitter artist who's done comic book illustrations. Not Doctor Who comic book, but she's recently got a book coming out on Amazon. So we're going to talk to her about her. I'm going to talk to her about her illustrations and her love for Doctor Who. There's a possibility that we could be talking to somebody else. We also are in talks with another cast member who appears throughout the whole of New Who and has quite a substantial role in the new era of Star Wars movies as well. So that's exciting. And anything...
I don't even know about that one.
Oh, wow. I'll tell you about that one. And also at Christmas time, we're going to be doing the Christmas Invasion as well. So there's a lot coming out.
Yeah, we're going to be busy.
Oh, also, before the Christmas Invasion, I think we should also touch on the comic relief special that was actually David Tennant's first time as Doctor Who. Where...
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yes,
Yeah,
I'd completely forgotten about it.
That's a really interesting one.
Yeah, so we'll do that as well. That'll fall in some point during the week as well.
Once again, I'm right. And on the rare occasion that I'm wrong, we usually find out that that bit was a lie and that I was right in the first place.
So yeah, there's a lot coming out. But before all that, we need to recommend stuff. Harry, what are you going to recommend?
I'm going to recommend a YouTube channel. Yeah, that's right. I don't just watch TV. I mean, since coming to uni, my kind of flat room doesn't actually have an aerial cable, so I can't actually watch TV. Well, I can watch on demand, but I'm watching primarily YouTube right now. And this is a channel, I'm not sure if you've heard of it, it's called Defunct Land.
Oh, yes, I do. I watch them, yeah.
Oh, do you watch Defunct Land?
Yeah.
Now, I'm not like a massive fan of theme parks or anything and going to them, but I find theme park history really, really interesting. And Defunct Land, the whole gist of it is that they talk about kind of old theme parks or kind of planned theme parks and attractions that either don't exist anymore or just never saw light of day at all.
I like the
And
ones where
kind
they're...
of
Sorry, go on.
the reason I find them very interesting is that kind of they don't just talk about the history of the parks themselves, but they kind of talk about the history of the company, the lead figures, and also very often they talk about kind of the period. Like, for example, they did an episode on the history of Coney Island, and it kind of really goes into kind of exploring that era of New York and the different classes of people and kind of how the business of running the pier worked. And it's just a very interesting historical insight.
Yeah, I really like a lot of these like abandoned Disney things where they're like, this like if you get on the ferry, you actually end up sailing past this island that looks just like an island, but actually behind all the trees is a hidden theme park.
Oh, yeah,
That's
it used to be a
closed.
zoo, didn't it?
Yeah, stuff like that, and like really weird things. And like, I'm just on their channel now, so I just want to make sure I'm recommending the right one. But I think I'm right in thinking that there was once in talks for a Roger Rabbit themed attraction at Disney, and that didn't work out as well. Like, I'm looking here, the history of the Muppet Show, the history
that's it.
of Nana Dreamland.
Yeah. They also do a lot of stuff kind of talking about kind of old, primarily Disney TV shows. So they've done a whole series talking about the history of Jim Henson.
Yeah, there's one here about the
different projects.
abandoned Nickelodeon hotel, the failure of Disney's Chuck E. Cheese. Yeah, there's lots. Yeah, they're really interesting, and they vary in length as well.
And they're not just informative, but they're kind of delivered with a real kind of dry wit and sense of humor.
Yeah.
So they're also just very entertaining to watch as well. They're just very well made kind of documentaries that, you know, I'd recommend, you know, anyone to watch, even people who aren't usually interested in kind of theme park history.
No, yeah, I like, what is it, TPM Disney Beats?
Oh, yeah. Welcome to TPM Disney Beat.
Yeah. There is something about
it's
like...
TPM Beats, isn't it?
Is that it? I can't remember now.
Yeah, that's it. I know because that's one of the few impressions I can do half decently.
I definitely back in your recommendation. My recommendation ties in slightly because I believe the logo to Defunctland is the rear end of the time machine from Back to the Future, the DeLorean.
Oh.
Did you not know that?
I didn't really notice.
Did you not? Oh, right. Okay, anyway. Well, my recommendation is something that isn't probably that accessible to a lot of people, but I'm going to recommend, because I booked tickets to go and see it for the third time, I'm going to recommend the Back to the Future musical, which opens in its West End debut in London in January, February, March, April, in May of next year. I was really lucky enough to see it twice in Manchester this year, 2020, before COVID hit. I saw the preview and then I went to the world premiere as well. And most people know I'm a huge Back to the Future fan. I was very apprehensive about this. And I remember talking to people before it in the queue going, this is either going to be really, really good or it's going to suck. And I haven't spoken to a single person who hasn't enjoyed the musical. It is honestly... You don't have to know Back to the Future to enjoy it. I went and saw it first with my friend Josh, who knows the films quite well. And then the second time I saw it, I took my friend Harrison, who you will know, who appeared in the Big Finish episode that we did, had never seen Back to the Future. His first experience of Back to the Future was the musical, and he loved it. The songs are really great. And something that, I know, Harry, you're at drama school at the moment, so you might be able to help me out a bit here. I'm not a big theatre goer, but the effects in this show blew my mind of what I was seeing on stage.
Now, from what you've told me, like really cutting edge kind of visual effects for a stage show.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, you think, how do they put a DeLorean on stage and make it travel in time? But it works. I won't spoil it, but I'll reveal something about, you know, the practical effect of it. Is there's a scene in which the DeLorean, when at the end of the film where Marty travels from, spoilers for Back to the Future, a film that's 35 years old, at the end of the film where Marty travels from 1955 back to 1985, it's a scene in the movie where Marty drives down like a 2-mile long road, and you're like, how on earth are they going to do that? on stage, and the car's on like a plinth on the middle of the stage, so it moves around the stage. There's this transparent screen that they project images on, images behind, the lighting, and it all works so well. It's got music composed by Alan Silvestri, who did the original film Ready Player One and Avengers Endgame. I believe he's done a few. I think he's done a Nolan film. I know he's done a few Spielberg ones when John Williams isn't around.
He's a very prolific composer.
Yeah, and it's also got music from Glenn Ballard, who's done a lot of musicals. It stars Ollie Dobson as Marty McFly and Roger Bart as Doc. The standout. Sorry, go on.
The playbook is also written by Bob Gale.
Bob Gale. Yeah, co-writer and co-producer and all that of the actual film. So yeah,
a lot of the original came back for it.
Yeah, Robert Zemeckis. The two guys, Robert Zemeckis and Bob Gale, director and producer and co-writers of Back to the Future, they had a huge hand in the musical. In fact, that when it was the premiere night, the two of them came on stage to a standing ovation. I didn't
realize that Robert Zemeckis had involvement with the show.
Yeah, they're really, it's top stuff. It was really great. I got to meet Zemeckis, which was for a brief second, but it was one of those things where I'm looking at someone who has the job I want. He's directing movies. He directed my favorite movie, and I'm looking at him like you just want to ask a million questions at that point.
Oh, I know.
It's like I was really looking a few years ago to meet David Tennant. And I have so much respect for David Tennant. He's, that era of Doctor Who is so important to me. But when I met him, I realized I had not much to say to him because he's not Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Apart, you can obviously say, I really admire you, thank you so much, and, and all this. But when I was stood next to Zemeckis, it's like my head is filled. I just want to ask you a billion questions. Yeah. So, yeah, anyway, that's enough Back to the Future before I go on a tangent. So, yeah, that's what I'm recommending. What's next week, Harry? What's oh shit, it's the last one next week. It's the last one of series 1.
The series finale, Eccleston's final episode.
Oh my god, it's gonna be quite sad.
Yeah, it's gonna be weird kind of not being able to do my Christopher Eccleston voice anymore.
We'll have to come up with something next week for like a fond farewell.
Yeah.
Where are you ranking? We never did this. Where are you ranking Bad Wolf on your scale?
For me, Bad Wolf. This is hard.
For those who don't know, the scale is at the very bottom. The very bottom of the scale is rated with a what?
It's why don't you just die?
And what's the middle? Can you remember what the middle is?
Is it? I am so impressive.
Yeah, and what's the top one?
Fantastic.
Okay, so where does Bad Wolf come on this scale?
I think it's definitely in the top end. It's a strong episode. I'd give it about for this series.
That's not bad.
I like it. So I had a lot of fun with this episode.
Nice.
And it's got one of what I'd say is one of the best. Although it was spoiled by the next time, I think the cliffhanger with the Daleks and the Doctor being like, I'm going to destroy every single one of your ships is one of like the best cliffhangers the show's ever had. It just gets your adrenaline pumping, leaves you in a good feeling. I really enjoyed this episode. I just had a lot of fun with it. Where I'd rank it alongside the other episodes in this series, I couldn't say just yet because it's just such a strong series.
Have you been updating your ranking of the series as we've gone along, or are you going to wait till it's all over?
When it's all over, I think I want to wait until it's all over to do a definitive ranking.
Because I kept, for those who don't know, when we did Dalek. Oh, sorry, we forgot to mention that we will also be revisiting Dalek. We're going to redo that episode because we didn't really do it justice when we reviewed it the first time. So we're going to go back and redo it. But you can go back and listen to the original version of that in which we mentioned, we ranked the first 6 episodes. I kept that note on my phone and I've been adding to it with each episode that we've watched. So man's still on the go. It might tweak it a little bit, but it's interesting.
Yeah. But I think this is definitely... Oh, is it top half though? I don't know.
You'll have to
it's
tune in
hard.
next week to find out where we review. I know, maybe I don't know. We'll do it at some point. So next week, what's next week's episode, Harry?
Next week's episode is The Parting of Ways.
Whoop, whoop. So I'm now going to say a very calm and respectable goodbye. And now I'm going to let Harry just say, probably he's going to say the same as well. So say goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Ah, there we go. It's lovely. It's the worst thing. No podcast ever does it because it's the worst idea ever.
Don't forget to click below to subscribe to the official
Bigger on the Inside podcast.